Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Inside Lion Athletics. I'm Charlie Chitwood. Joined to start things out. Let's go to volleyball. Joe Morales, head coach of the Lion women, and winner, chicken dinner over Houston Christian last week, huh?
Absolutely. It's a good feeling to get back in the win column.
You get better gas mileage on the way home after a win. The food tastes better.
Especially when you're home, absolutely. So it was good. We enjoyed it, and the kids, there was. I told them yesterday, there was even times when we went down on the third set and lost it, I still felt we had the momentum, like we were playing really well. So it was really good.
It was such a grind there for a couple of weeks, and you're trying to keep their spirits up and keep reminding them, the caliber, the level of play against them will show up differently when as the same caliber against somebody else.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing, especially when you start off 3-0 and all the expectations are there, and then you play the tough teams and you kind of go on a losing streak and you're keeping that morale up. But they're doing a good job, and they're competitive, and they're still playing, and so it showed this past Saturday.
Talk about the games. Anybody who had the hot hand? Somebody had the hot hand. Several had the hot hand.
I mean, we were such a balanced offense, and I haven't seen that in a long time. I think maybe early on against maybe Tarleton, but we were so balanced. I mean, you had our outsides that were all over above 200. I think Katana had 3-something. You had our middles, Peyton Roper came alive with 300 on the right side. That was beautiful to watch. And then, Avery went off with like 600. So we were doing a lot of things that we've been kind of leading up to, and now it's just clicking. So we got to keep the foot on the gas and keep it going. But it was a team effort for sure. I mean, everybody was scoring where we needed to, and caused a lot of confusion on the other side, which was awesome.
So much of practice. I mean, that's 80% of the sport is practice.
Right.
The repetition in different parts of the game.
Sure.
Where is that showing strongest that they can see the improvement?
Well, I think, we do a lot to adhere for whatever the scouting report is that week, and I think lately we've been very focused on going to the middles and to the right sides, and we've been doing that a lot in practice as well. I think we're confident with our outside that we can score there, and so we've been really focusing on the middle and the right side attack to open up that, and that showed at Houston Christian. I mean, it was great. I mean, our right side, that was the first time our right side had hit over, I want to say, 250, maybe 300. So that was really good.
Outstanding stuff. Yeah. So you mentioned scout team, and all I can think of is like, football. Well, let's go over to practice, and you've got a squad that's pretending to be the opponent.
Right.
How does that scout team work out in volleyball? Is it pretty much the same way? They're trying to emulate the other squad?
It does in some cases. I think now we're at the point where we're just focusing a little bit about what we're going to do and how we're going to defend.
Okay.
More than just kind of let's, pretend we're, your nickels or your HCU and run their stuff. We kind of fall away from that a little bit just because you don't really emulate it as much. We may do it like a little bit where I may get on the box and I may emulate someone's swing and, hit the ball. This is what they're going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel coaches have a little bit more stronger repertoire in the arsenal to where they want to put the ball so we can mimic players a little bit.
Okay.
Where the players, it's a little hard for them to mimic someone else when they're still learning how to play the game. So we do that as coaches, not as much as players. But we want to adhere to the scouting report. So this is what we're doing on, blocking on this rotation. This is how we're going to score on this rotation. This is our primary, our secondary, and our third offensive set.
Okay.
So we kind of go through those phases a little bit per rotation, and I have a lot of communication with our setter, which is theoretically like the quarterback.
Right.
So, we want to say, hey, you get in this predicament. This is your outlet. This is your go. This is where your secondary. So kind of like your read in football. So we do a little bit of that situational in scenarios and, at least coming alive with that and performing. So.
Great stuff. And I guess the only a coach that's just played volleyball all his life, the only thing you lose is your ups, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I got to get on the box.
There you go. All right, good deal. All right, let's talk about what's coming up.
Yeah, we got another one gamer, so that's been really good for us. We'll fly out to New Orleans and play Nichols on Saturday, early game, 11 o'clock. We didn't have a good fare with them last season in both games, and so we have that in the back of our mind a little bit. But we're a stronger team, and so we're focusing on let's take advantage of the opportunities that we have, and so we're going there for business and taking care of it, and hopefully come back with the W.
The space in between games that y'all have had this last week, 2 weeks, that's had to help everybody get over any kind of aches and pains.
Well, when you're going with a one game per week, it helps. I gave them a day off on Monday. They enjoyed it. They kind of got back on course with their academics, and it's great to just be a college student sometimes, and they forget about being that because they're so in with the athletic portion of it that, hey, Monday's a day off. So they were able to enjoy that. Just go to class and not go to practice and have that. And they come back with a little bit more refresh, today and whatnot. And so that's been really good for us.
All right. What's the picture right now on tournament qualifications?
So
Southland
right now,
tournament.
so we're in right now. We got to, of course, win the games that we are confident in winning. We got to collect a little bit more W's. I think we can, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic here. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I think we can be optimistic and try to win out from here on in. I think our toughest opponent, I think we're still going to have fights against UIW, Houston Christian again. We see them, Northwestern State on Tuesday when we come back. But I think, and then we still got to go through SLU, Southeastern. And so they're number one in the conference right now. But we get them at home on our last weekend. So
Very good.
That's great. So I think we're eighth right now, and I think we can move up maybe a slot or two depending on how this kind of works out in the seeding and what we can do and finish out the season.
Okay. Coach, real quick, toughest gym in the Southland to play in?
Toughest gym in the Southland to play in. Wow, I would have to say probably SFA.
Okay.
SFA, toughest gym to play in.
Small, loud house.
Small, loud. I mean, you got the rails up on the second, floor where they're all seating at, and you got people hanging out with their legs, kind of just chanting. And it's a small gym, so it's pretty loud. The good thing is we already played that one, and we don't have to go back this year. So they got to come back next year. So that's a good one. So,
right.
But that is a tough one to play.
All right. Just so, because inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, absolutely. All
right, folks. Time flies when we're having fun. We got to go, but we'll be back in a minute. Lions up here. Keep
Lions.
It around. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to more of Inside Lion Athletics. Getting close to basketball season, like next week, close to basketball season. I have women's head coach, Valerie. Coach Val, what are you doing?
Practicing,
getting ready.
Yeah, we'll have practice today. We'll be off tomorrow. So.
So it's not just been practice against each other. You had one of those super secret scrimmages last week, and
That's
you
correct.
hosted one here.
We did, yes. We scrimmaged UT Dallas last Friday. Really good. Both ends to see some different stuff than what we saw against Tech. Offensively, we were able to clean up a few things over those, I think, course of 10 days of practice, and able to use some of our zone defense that we've been working on. So it was good to be able to, use it against somebody else other than ourselves.
Sure. Saw some of the video clips from that on socials, and so it wasn't quite a super secret scrimmage. But, just being able to whip the ball around a little bit and do things the way they're drawn up.
Right. Focusing on the offensive end and, our flow offense and sharing the ball, and we've been doing a really, really good job of that lately in practice, and I think probably by the clips that you saw, there were a bunch of good possessions against UT Dallas that we were able to do that and get good shots. We didn't hit a ton. But we made what we needed to make. The makes will come, but the offense is looking really good.
Coach, how does this team look compared to last year's, just as far as having your thumbprint on it? I mean, are they pretty smooth more or smoother into what you want them to do?
I think having a group of returners that know how we do things and know what we're doing goes a long way. And then bringing in the new kids, you just have more people that know what you're doing, so it's a little easier to get through stuff and teach. Where as the coaches aren't the only ones doing it this year, which is great.
So this coming week, 2 games, Monday and Friday. They count now. They'll go on the board. You've got North Texas at Dallas on Monday evening here.
That's correct.
And then you're going to go to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to, it used to be, what was it, Barn Hill Arena? I don't think that's where they play anymore. But
not ever been there. Yep.
Red, Loud, and Suey Pig.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about Arkansas first. That's fine. We also play a 10:30 a.m. game, so it'll be a kid game.
High pitched.
So it'll be a lot of kids in there screaming, which is good because normally kids, when they're at those type of games, they don't know who to cheer for.
Right.
So,
it's just basketball to them.
Yeah, that's right. So it'll be a good game. That'll be fun.
So UNT Dallas, with all respects to everything, but they're somebody that you expect to handle. And it's going to be more about how much of your team's will they exert on the opponent, right?
I don't think we ever go in thinking like that. I mean, we treat every opponent, the same.
Sure.
We prepare the same. I think the thing that will be good for us, I think we'll see a lot of zone, which will really give us, some good film, for our zone offense, zone defense and stuff. They played quite a bit of zone defense last year, so, we'll prep for that. But I think that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Even with Jason Burton for years, talking about, they're going to run the dang zone on us again. Well, it's such a thing, huh?
And I appreciate it because you'll go, 4 or 5 stretches of games where everybody's playing you man, and then there'll be a game of zone. So that's one of the reasons I like playing them, because they're going to give us a lot of zone, and it'll give us a lot of work on that. So. And
your Lions, they'll run a little zone every now and then.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah. We've been working on, our zone defense and, doing some different things out of that. And we were able to do a lot of that on Friday night. So it was really good for our kids to get a feel for it, like game action wise, and not just in practice.
So when you've got a team that mostly runs man and they'll get into a zone every now and then, it's just to switch things up and try to catch them off guard.
That's correct.
What other kind of defensive switches can you pull on somebody? I mean, besides just, the whole all 5 doing something different.
Right. We have some stuff like, I would say, baked into our base defense where, like if we need to change stuff up throughout a game, whether it's, jump switch and middle drives, whether it's jump switch and baseline drives. We have stuff built in that we can automatically do that and go to that. Doubling the post is another thing. And we've worked on our press quite a bit. So, we've got some stuff where we can change the flow of the game if we need to.
Very good. All right, what do you think about Arkansas? Have you looked at them yet on any film? So you don't overlook UNT Dallas.
No, I haven't started watching Arkansas. Right now it's UNT Dallas, and preparing for them, and getting practice plans ready for our preparation for the game Monday. But our Arkansas is good every year. Neighbors is an amazing coach, and They run. So it'll be a fast-paced game. That's for sure.
So last year, I remember Houston, I think, was run, and they were so fast.
That's correct.
Are they Arkansas fast? Is Arkansas Houston fast?
I would say very comparable, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, get ready. All right, Coach, who's ready to go? Anybody who are Lion fans going to go, wow, we could have used her last year?
I think we've got a really good bunch of kids that, that are new, that all the Lion fans are really going to like. I think the added size inside defensively will be a big thing. I think people notice right away just because we didn't have that last year in Alva and Nylock and Tren. So I think those three, and the guards as well, the guards that we signed that are new, they play like our guards play. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, there's a reason we signed them. But, the fans are going to see a lot of the same guard action that we had last year.
All right, we know you're down one of those guards, but everybody else healthy, ready to go next week?
Yep.
Excellent.
As of right now.
As of right now. And things can change in a moment. All right, Coach, I'm sorry we won't be with you next week, but we'll be watching and paying attention, and we'll catch up the following week and have some games.
All right, sounds good, Charlie.
All right, folks. Hey, come on out Monday night. What time's that game?
6:30, Charlie.
6:30 tip-off on Monday against UNT Dallas, and if you find yourself in Northwest Arkansas, 10:30 a.m. next Friday.
That's correct.
That's what they'll be doing. All right, Lion fans, we'll see you in a minute. Don't go away. Hey, everybody, welcome back to more of Inside Lion Athletics. I'm Charlie Chitwood, joined now by head coach Clint Dalzell, A&M Commerce Lion football. Coach, Prairie View homecoming is a big deal down there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a madhouse. Just getting in and out of there was tough. I mean, they do it right. There's no doubt about it in Prairie View.
I have told people over and over from where we were, and they weren't in the stadium. They were just all
Everywhere,
over campus.
No doubt.
And
It's a
I said there had
beautiful
to be 20 or 30,000, and then I find out it was twice that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I
mean, I knew there was a lot of people around there, and getting in was just it was a zoo getting in and out of there.
And you had police
tough.
cars to escort
And
you.
when they took us, I guess they thought we were going back to Houston, or where we stayed the night before, because they took us out to the road the other end. Then we ended up driving back by Prairie View going home.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Oh, my. Well, how about the game? There was good good points. They kind of jumped on us early.
They did. They had a good game plan coming out. That bye week served them well. They had 2 weeks to prepare for us, and they hit us with a couple trick shots, and we busted a couple coverages in the secondary, jump on us, 21 real quick. And we missed some opportunities in the first half. We had some touchdown looks and some touchdown catches that, if we make, we're
right.
We're right there in the ball game. And then second half, we settled down like we normally do a lot of times. Played good defensive football, and we scored some points. Will Madonna came off the bench and played well. He's put 24 points up for us, and, again, missed a few opportunities in that one too, just making plays and putting some more points on the board.
So do you like where he is? I mean, it's repetition to get a lot of that stuff down, just like you would hope with any other quarterback. But how much is he going to start?
I don't know
Saturday?
yet. We're all those three have been pretty beat up. Will's been slowly creeping in and getting some playing time, practice more times than not, just because of some injuries through Ron and Erod, and he didn't get here like they did, and weren't here through spring ball, so he was a little behind.
Mm-hmm.
The past few weeks, Will has really picked it up and had no problem putting him in the ball game, and have no problem putting in the ball game this weekend. So he's definitely got some qualities I really like. He's a great leader. He's got some stuff in his neck when he needs to, and which I like. He definitely commands respect from the huddles and from the other team as well. So I definitely like that about him. He can fling the football around. He's a pretty tough runner.
Coach, and I'll never say anything about it again, but he had a rough first impression when he went out in the victory formation.
Yeah, I mean,
but he's really. I mean, you told everybody. He made his apologies to his teammates on the bus, and he did that without any bidding too.
He did. I mean, he's frustrated. I mean, the kid, came from California, leading all California JUCOs in passing, and he found himself third string just because he was behind. When we got in, where those guys had the spring and, all of fall camp to get it done. And he was just behind. And he understood it. He wasn't, for the first 4 or 5 weeks, he was, still learning. And he started to get the grasp of things and was frustrated,
right.
Just no doubt about it. And, did something dumb. And that's his bottom line. He did something dumb, but it corrected, like you mentioned, and got in front, was a big, a man about it, and apologized to the team. And, it paid off. He got some playing time this past week and showed out.
Well, sometimes somebody that you hope will be a leader, and that's always something you need in your quarterback, they can make a bad impression, but a leader can show how you respond to making a mistake and then go out and get them in the huddle and say, let's do it this way.
No doubt. I like all three of them got a lot of qualities that I like. They're competing and
Sure.
they all want to play, and I get it. We're kind of banged up. Erod's pretty close to being healthy, and Ron, his foot is a little beat up too. So I want to be smart with him. We definitely don't want to rush him out there. We'll see how it goes during the week.
Watching your opponent on film this week, and we're headed down to see McNeese in Lake Charles. Coach, they had one of their, big portal guys come in, and he had them rolling 4-2. They won their first conference game, and they acted like that was the Super Bowl, that first gun. And it's been a little bit different since because that quarterback got hurt, and now he's out for the rest of the year. Clifton McDowell, I think was his name,
Yep.
versus Camden Six Killer, who's going to be the starter the rest of the way. Yeah.
What a name.
I think that's his great uncle that was in the original Longest Yard.
According to our defensive coaches, they think Six Killer's as good as the other quarterback, who's not playing anymore. So we have our hands full. He can run it. He can throw it. He's got some moxie to him too. So they're not missing much of a beat there. And obviously they're obviously a lot better football team than we played last year at home. And they did some serious recruiting and taking care of players, obviously, and bringing in, a few players.
NIL, that's how you spell portal, isn't it?
No
NIL?
No doubt. And they're good. I mean, obviously, their defense is totally revamped. So I think there's only one player playing from last year that we saw, when we played them at home last year. And their offense is obviously way better than last year's. And they can run the ball. And we got to be able to stop the run this weekend.
Hey, we didn't see Aiden Martin once last week until you needed him to kick an onside kick, and he darn near got it.
Yeah, it was. He's a little beat up. He says he's an old man. He walks around like he's an old man. But yeah, no, he was. He's beat up. There's no doubt about it. Onside kick, you don't have to kick it 10 yards, so we let him have that one. And we had it prepped during the week. We really kind of wanted to do a surprise one on it. They were kind of leaving a hole in the middle, and obviously when the team's ready for it, it's a lot harder to get versus a surprise one. But, it bounced around, and we did have a shot at it.
All right, let's see. We get through this one. I know it's one game at a time, but you got to know that your next three are all at home.
Yeah, it'll be nice. McNeese will be a tough environment. That's always going down there. It'll be 7 o'clock game too. Just the late drive getting back. We're not looking forward to that part of it for sure. But yeah, it'd be nice to get back home. I think we have Stephen F. and then Houston Christian and Incarnate Word as our last three at home there. So. It's all about McNeese right now, and we're looking forward to getting back home, though.
All right, Coach. Well, time flies when we're having fun, man. We'll get down there and see what happens in the hole. I'm not sure I'd want to call my stadium that.
The hole?
The hole.
Yeah, I kind of like the previews was the hill. I think that's what they called it there.
Okay.
On the hill. It was a good name.
It was good. We couldn't hear much. We were almost in a sound booth, so.
Yeah.
But we could sure see it, and everybody around. It was a great atmosphere.
It was. They did a great job. The fans were really good too. They were respectful. They were good.
All right. Well, it's going to be loud in Lake Charles on Saturday. We'll see what happens then.
We'll get after them.
Line up, folks. We'll be back in a few minutes with more on Inside Lion Athletics. Hey, everybody, welcome back to more of Inside Lion Athletics. We've got head coach Jarrett Von Rosenberg of the men's team, and man, do you have a busy week coming up.
Yeah, it's exciting. Starts with tonight, Lion Mania. Really good opportunity for our players to get showcased for the first time in front of the students and the community. Then after that, we'll take a day off. Our team's going to actually go vote tomorrow, as we'll be on the road in Iowa.
Tuesday, right?
During election next week. So we're going to take care of that, do our civic duty, and have our guys, a lot of their first time to vote. So it's cool to be a part of that. And then we'll get prepared for Iowa. Start back on Friday with practice leading up to Monday's game.
Outstanding. So, yeah, your last warm-up was you got to have one of your super secrets here at home, and it was Oral Roberts that came. Or was it here in this gym?
We
or?
traveled to Durant. We met halfway.
Okay.
No, it was good. Anytime you can put film against an opponent on the, and get an opportunity to learn from that. They play a different style than us, so we're able to see different ball screen coverage, different offense run against us. So those two were really good, played differently and made different mistakes in both games. And that's great because I think we want to learn from scrimmages and practice as much as we can.
Sure.
We're going to learn from game film, but hopefully it's not a total learning experience when we step on the floor for the first time.
So next week you start Monday evening against Iowa, and then it's a quick trip to Vermillion, South Dakota, which is, for all the places in South Dakota that exist, it's barely there. But we'll claim South Dakota on our bucket list.
I guarantee you know the geography up there better than I do.
Still like maps, man.
So, yeah, it's a really good tournament for us. We're able to get a home game, go up and play Iowa. And then South Dakota, it's a very like opponent. It'll be tough on the road early in the year. They're well coached as well. So quick turnaround, but both teams are going to have quick turnaround as they play Southern, our next week opponent. They play them opening night on the 4th as part of a multi-team event tournament that we're in. So good opportunity. Just this week's a good opportunity. We're going to grow and learn a lot about our team in this first week. And, again, get a lot of film to come back and really work on. And then, we play – one game the following week, but it seems like a lot. The trainer came up to me and was like, are you ready for this week? And I'm like, remember last year, not only did we play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we had another game on the road on Sunday.
That's right. You extended.
We're actually they're both tough and put a lot of pressure on our guys physically and mentally. But I think our guys are ready and they're excited for it.
Iowa, they're going to be a tournament team. They almost always are. I think I saw them ranked in the top 40 in one ranking. They didn't make the top 25s. But your Friday night opponent, you can find them pretty easy, the A&M Aggies. And won't that be a special day?
Yeah, no, they're very good, very well coached. It's a great game for us. Obviously, proximity, we're part of the same system. But I hopefully – last year the circumstances leading up to that game were a lot different than this year. So hopefully we're a little bit more prepared, for this whole week. But for A&M, they're going to stress us in so many ways. And I haven't even dove into I just know their roster. They returned a lot of guys from last year and added new good pieces. So
right.
It'll be a tough opponent, but we got two tough ones well before Friday. I know it's right around the corner, but A&M seems like an eternity from now.
So the grind of practice, and then boom, everybody shotguns out on the road like that. Everybody's free to go now, right?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, if you're a part of college basketball and you've grown up in college basketball, and obviously my entire professional life's been in college basketball, but that opening week, it's just exciting. We're looking at scores. I'm checking 300 scores all over the country, friends, colleagues, and future opponents, Southland teams, and just getting the opportunity to not only check on, and you'll be able to watch and see a lot of games. And I think with the new landscape and the transfer landscape of college athletics, but college basketball in general, there's a lot of good basketball teams at I think a little bit lower levels in those high majors, and so I think there'll be a lot of fireworks in the first 2 weeks.
All right. Coach, this is almost totally off topic, but we've spent a lot of time talking to Jim about with the house thing and all these athletes that are kind of going to trickle down effect in one block. What is that? How different is that going to be for basketball than, say, football, where they got tons of numbers?
I don't have a good answer for you. I know the landscape's going to change, but I don't even know if the NCAA or the legislative body, I don't even know if they know exactly what it's going to look like. They're still working through those things.
It's changed every year, hasn't it, for the last 3?
Yeah, I think what's going to stay the same is that we're going to have 13 players, and we're going to have the opportunity to transfer and play right away. And there's going to be a lot of other things that happen outside of that, but I believe that those two things are going to stay the same. So from that lens, we're able to kind of operate under the same guidelines moving forward.
Okay.
That we've been operating on.
Fair enough. We'll see when we see,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's what everybody's going to do. We'll see when we see. All right, man. Well, get your bags packed and get ready to go. We'll be up there. I'll catch up with you Monday.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Hopefully people in the community can come out tonight, 7 o'clock, Lion Mania. We've got some giveaways and some opportunities to meet the men's and women's team and be following us from home. I think our games can be found on television, all of them. And then please, please, please mark it on your calendars. Our first home game against Southern. Southern is, help me out, obviously, Wednesday the 13th, November 13th. Put it on your calendar, 6:30 p.m. start. We don't get a lot of opportunities in the field house, and we need to take care of home court, and it's going to start November 13th against Southern. So please come out and follow and support the Lions.
All right. Go, folks. Hey, we'll see you at the gym. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Inside Lion Athletics. I'm Charlie Chitwood. We're heading over to the soccer pitch now. Ashley Gordon and her Lions are just about tournament ready. Coach, it's been a rough couple of weeks, but everybody's in. I mean, you're absolutely going to the Southland tournament. But there's Avi just told us there's 18 pages of scenarios that can impact the seeding in the tournament coming up. And the top, I think he said, however the Lions game goes, takes up 5 pages. Crazy.
It does. There's a lot of implications coming down to the wire for a number of teams, and you've got 4 teams right now that are just neck and neck with points that are all dueling it out based to get 3 out of the 4 spots. So there's 5 of us at the top that have obviously secured a game in the tournament, but there's a lot of implications based on what's going to come down to the wire in the last game. So we play Friday night. We play against Houston Christian, and Houston Christian right now, I mean, they're desperate for a win in the sense of they're one of the 4 teams that's battling it out. And
on the bubble.
They're on the bubble, and they need a win. So of course we're preparing to come out and compete and play with mentality, and we're playing on the road, which is always hard, but it's nothing different than what we've done in the past. A very important game, and I think based on training this week, we should be ready to go.
Healthy going into the final game?
Yeah. Somewhat. I say somewhat. We have taken a couple of knocks just in the past week. Sure. Or at least since the McNeese game. And as we've gotten one of our goalkeepers back, Nika, freshman, who had 4 W's, didn't play last weekend because of a concussion, but she's back on the field. And Jillian McKenzie, who's been in goal for us as a junior, who's been playing well. She was fouled against when we played Incarnate and taken out. And anyway, but she is back in training this week. I think just not completely at 100%.
Did they call it just a hard tackle? I didn't know you could tackle the goalie.
Yeah. Well, they did, and it should have been called, as a foul, and it was not called. And so not only did they score off of fouling our goalkeeper, it also knocked our goalkeeper, out for a couple days.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so you look back over the course of this whole season, and we talked, everybody had big fights during their non-conference schedule. And then you get in and everybody, it seems like there was a little bit of injury everywhere, but that's just the nature of the game.
Yeah.
And now here you are. Did you expect to be here?
Yeah.
What are we?
I know you got me all
Sorry.
tangled there. That's okay. You know what? I mean, like I said, you got to be healthy going into the tournament and having a number of options, of course, at every single position. So we've got some people, like I said, that have some knocks here or there, not necessarily 100%, but we've got the majority of our roster that's in play for this weekend and heading into the tournament, and so that's going to be important. I can't say the same for last year. I mean, really, we were going into the conference tournament with our two leading goal scorers, Hannah Bell and Cadence Ramirez, who were injured and knocked out of the tournament. And so anyway, but we, for the most part, we have a full roster, so to speak, heading into the tournament. So that's good.
The tournament experience that some of your players have, that's just invaluable. Isn't it, going into this again?
It is. And, after year one, I mean, we had very few seniors, and then last year only graduated one senior. So all of the minus our three freshmen, all of our players have tournament experience and have clocked a lot of minutes and over a course of 1 to 2 years. And so when you have players that have those experience, as far as based on minutes, they're at least able to go into the conference tournament with confidence and just with the feeling of, what, they've been there before. I think last year for some, the moment might have been a little bit too big. But, this year, I mean, I think just from a confidence standpoint and mentality, I think we're ready.
So your final regular season game is on a Saturday in Houston. And
Friday night, actually.
Friday night
we play
in Houston. And then the tournament begins as early as 10 o'clock on Tuesday in Corpus. Y'all aren't going to bounce back, are you?
No. And
kind of cut across and save a little time and leg.
So we'll be in Houston. So we'll depart Houston Saturday for Corpus, and thank goodness that we've got an athletic department and a school that supports women's soccer, and that has given us the green light to be able to get to the tournament one day early, which will help us for recovery, and our recovery on the road, whether we do a pool recovery and we're doing ice baths and getting out and getting, all the lactic acid out of our legs and so forth. It also will allow us, to get there a day early to have an extra practice. So we'll be able to train in Corpus on Sunday, and then, we'll have another training session on Monday at their stadium. And, like I said, the quarterfinals start as early as 10. We have no idea who we're playing. And, like I said, based on the implications of this next game.
But it's a secret to everybody because the standings are such a jumble. Nobody knows who they're playing.
You've got, and it's even a fight for who's going to win the regular conference season. So that's battle. But right now we're sitting, as far as for points, we're sitting in fourth place. Depending on what happens, we could be sitting in second place, going in. So again, we have no idea what's going to happen with the seedings. Can't control any of that. I continue saying control the controllables. So we've got to come out. We got to play hard on Friday night. We've got to be ready from the get go, and be ready to get on the scoreboard first, get a W, and head to Corpus.
Now, for the student part of that student athlete thing, the extra day gone, it's different now than it would have been, say, like when we were student athletes. You get on a bus and you're not cut off from the rest of civilization. I mean, y'all got Wi-Fi on the bus, right?
We have Wi-Fi.
They can get on and go to class if they want.
Yes, and that happens. I mean, we have players, of course, and some kids also have, online courses too. So we've got a team that we take academics extremely serious, and so the culture of the team,
was it 3.8 last year? What was that team GPA?
Might have been. I'd have to ask Bobby.
It was up there.
Yes. Very, very, very smart team, and Charlie too. We have two players that are also within the Honors College, and the Honors College is extremely competitive to get into. I mean, they only accept like 60 candidates per year. So, but regardless of all that, our team, the culture of the team, when we get to the hotel or whether we're on the bus, I mean, our team is studying, and anytime we're not on the field and we're not eating, sleeping, but the team will get together and like I said, they knock out schoolwork, which is great.
Good deal. Boy, I couldn't have been on your team. I wasn't good enough in the classroom. But, folks, that's all of a sudden got us to the end of this segment of Inside Line Athletics. So, Friday, 7 o'clock at Houston Christian. And that game will be on the Plus, right?
Yes,
ESPN Plus. So
7 o'clock.
watch that game. Cheer on your Lions from afar if you can't
right.
get to Houston. And then Tuesday, if you don't find yourself in Corpus, you'll be able to watch all the Southland Conference tournament games online.
One game at a time, Charlie.
That's it. That's
One
all
game
you
at a
can
time.
win. All right, folks,
All right.
line up. We'll see you in just a minute. We got a little more to talk about before we're all done.
Go Lions.
Welcome back, everybody, for some more of Inside Lion Athletics. Seems like everybody's starting to talk about tournament time. Mark Hameter, cross-country coach for your A&M Commerce Lion men and women long-distance runners. Y'all are first up. You've got the first tournament action of the year going Friday, I think.
Friday, women at 8:30, men at 9:30 a.m. New Orleans.
Where do they run? Do y'all run along Lake Pontchartrain for a ways, or?
Actually, it's real close to the lake at a place called Lake Oaks Park.
Okay.
So it's appropriately named.
That it is. Talk a little bit about how this season's gone on. We haven't got. I saw we did really, really well over at Mississippi College's event in Clinton, Mississippi, not too long ago.
Yeah, actually, like I've told this to the guys and girls. I'm extremely excited about the growth of their fitness continually. Our consistency is a huge basis of what we do, and they've been awesome. It's grown. They're really fit. It's about execution now, what they're willing to do for each other and how they navigate that, and they're super ready. We're just super excited.
I remember in my running days, Coach, that everything I wanted it always to be, lower time. And that's what everybody, even in cross country, wants. But it's not quite that smooth a slope.
Yeah, it's like so much is about in cross country as a team. Team racing is racing close together throughout the race. And if we can shrink a few of our little gaps down, we've been getting closer and closer together, and that's the mark of a really good team. So they have what it takes to do those things. So we're really excited to see how well they can do at that now.
How many of the Southland Conference squads have your teams run against? Have they seen everybody in the league yet?
Not this season. I'm thinking 3. So we know them pretty well. A lot of our kids are friends with kids on most of the other teams, and
right.
And nowadays we can kind of follow each other. But head to head, we haven't raced the majority of the conference yet.
Rivalries between some of the runners, those. There's a rivalry in every sport.
For sure. And, we love, and I'll shout out, a team in our conference, Incarnate Word. Like, we're really good friends with them. We think they're the best team in the history of our conference, and we love that. It's making everybody better. Mm-hmm. They've got an outside shot at making nationals. They're really, really good. We like how they do business. We're motivated to try to close that gap as the years go on.
Very well. Coach, 10 guys is your limit. And you're taking the whole women's field because you
right.
don't have 10 women on the squad. How do you kind of foresee them doing in the tournament?
Well, the thing we talk about is way more process-oriented, Charlie, than anything. We can't control what other teams do. And we have really good teams, like I mentioned,
sure.
UIW, Corpus, Stephen F. McNeese. I mean, all these teams, Lamar, they have some loaded athletes on their teams. So we just try to do the very best we can. We want the best place in school history. We want to put the best team performance in school history on the course out there. So our saying this week is we just want to run a beautiful race for each other and see where that lands. So
who on the squads are you expecting to be the first Lions across the line?
Well, in the women, we've got a real good leader in Annette Randma,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got good teammates behind her that are getting better and better and better. The men, who knows? We're getting some good problems with that. We've had a really good front pack. Nick Deutsch is in there. Alex Spear, Mr. Reliable. Freshman Josh Shanahan and Casey Novello have all been right there. Jeremiah Garcia is really the kind of guy that can run with those guys too. And then we've got a host of freshmen and a couple other juniors that are really, really good athletes who we're looking forward to see step on the course and race.
All right, of all the races that you guys have and women run in this year, and now you go to the tournament meet, what's the atmosphere like at a bigger race versus just a a normal regular season run?
We love that question because for us, we think it's another great day. We look at it as pretty much the same. It's a little more exciting because it's what we've been working for. Mm-hmm. But we're a real process-oriented team, so it's just more fun getting to try to celebrate our fitness at the end of a season. So it's pretty normal, kind of business and fun as usual, doing the best we can. So we try to have that in our vernacular and just the way we do things every day.
All right, Coach, you brought up process a couple of times. Explain what that process is for your long-distance runners.
And we practice 6:30 a.m. is our practice daily, our start time. A lot of the things we do are quite repeatable, where we don't do a lot of crazy workout days that they haven't done something very similar to before in a build-up. Mm-hmm. So we believe in consistency, progression, and specificity, the old saying about what leads to greatness, and we really emulate that in our daily activities.
Okay, good enough. So, is there any possibility anybody goes anywhere after this meet? I mean, are there other meets they can compete in that aren't NCAA?
Yeah, since we're still out of that window yet, we might get in that regional window next year. We're waiting for a January meeting. Okay. But there are. Our seniors have a plan, and some of the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, on the men's side, I know, they're going to run the Dallas Half Marathon December 15th. There's a really good meet with a lot of the best professional runners in the U.S. Called the Cross Champs in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. That's also later in November. So that's something, if they elect to, they might choose to do that and get to race against literally some of the best people. People who have Olympic medals may even be there this year. So
wow,
our sport's pretty cool that way.
When they go to a race like, say, in Dallas, it used to be the Jingle Bell Run. It was one of those holiday races. But they had an open division. Can a college student athlete run in an open division out of season without – I mean, they haven't done anything wrong, have they?
No. They can. Absolutely. We wouldn't be letting them. It's something they've started. Actually, one of our guys, Nick Deutsch, started doing that in high school. Mm-hmm. And he asked me, I came here his sophomore year, and he asked, can I do that again? And I'm like, as long as we keep training the way we do things, and if you want to do that on a Sunday morning in December, absolutely. And it's just kind of snowballed, and the teams, they've decided to do that. So as far as I know, that's still kind of in their radar after the season. So
all right. And runners just run. They just want to run.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, these guys are going to be running real soon down at the University of New Orleans. Friday morning, times again?
8:30 for the women's 6K and 9:30 for the men's 8K.
So keep an eye on Lion Athletics on your phone, on your laptop, on your desktop. One way or another, you can keep up with them and see how they run. Hang on, everybody. We've got more of Inside Lion Athletics coming up right after this. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Our final segment of this week's Inside Lion Athletics. I've got Jim Curry with me now, athletic director here, and there's a lot of busy people here, but he might be the busiest.
I got the right haircut for the job.
You show up anywhere. We never know when to expect you. That's the best kind of boss.
Yeah,
right?
We got some travels this weekend too. Avi and I are going to go on a tour of, I guess the southeast part of Louisiana, or maybe the whole part of southern Louisiana. So make it out to cross country.
Yeah.
So we'll leave tomorrow night to go to cross country in the morning. I haven't had a chance to go to the cross country championships yet, but looking forward to supporting those kids. And then we're going to go.
We're going to run?
No, I can promise you that. No. Hey, do you want to know a little fun fact?
Tell me.
I want a fun fact. I actually ran the 2007 Boston Marathon.
You completed it?
Completed it. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Little known
That's
fun
awesome.
fact. Yeah, little known fun fact. Yeah. So I always like to joke about that when we talk about cross country, because there is nothing about my physique that would suggest cross country.
No, mine
long
either.
Distance
Not
running.
totally.
So a little known fun fact.
That's great.
Yeah. So
how long did it take you to recover?
We don't have enough time for the funny stories on that. We'll have to touch on that maybe another time.
Did you have this to restore your powers?
Oh, the
gold,
Lion
lager?
Texas lager. I didn't at the time, unfortunately, right? Because now we got this brand new, and we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it took a little while to recover. Let's put it that way. It was the first time I had actually ever ran 26.2 miles. So
I can imagine.
Was that day. So,
and the last time too?
Yes, exactly. I put that in the same category. When I got done playing football in college, I always said that's the last time I'm ever going to do a back squat with a barbell on my back.
Right.
And I've held true to that to this day. So, but we since we've got the beer here and we just talked about it.
Unopened.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
ready to go.
For the record,
Yes.
right? For the record.
Hermetically sealed.
Excited about that because when we launched it, it was just in like 11 stores here in Commerce like that weekend. So we kind of had it staged here locally. But now, and you can go on, there's a little tab at the top of our website where you can actually go and find where all the locations and where it's distributed right now. It's like 33 locations now. So we've tripled it basically in a couple weeks, all through kind of northeast Texas. So
McKinney?
North of McKinney.
Frisco?
No, it's not. It hasn't hit it into Frisco yet.
Okay.
But we're in kind of those northern parts above McKinney, and then now Paris, Sulphur Springs, Greenville, Fate, out to Pinkerton, yeah. So
Picton. Picton.
Oh, Picton.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's Como Picton is the school.
Okay,
and
there it
the
is.
one community's Como, the other's Picton.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
that's
So-
how Picton.
See, I'm still learning.
It's okay.
That's okay.
We're okay.
But I'm learning about it now because of
Lion beer.
Exactly. So
Beer makes friends,
so, yeah,
doesn't it?
Appreciate everybody going out and advocating for it. And again, it's just continuing to promote and elevate the brand and push it out there. But we've heard good reviews on it.
You may not know this, but I'm going to ask because I'm curious. So if the first brew, the first how many kegs did they make? How many cans did they can?
I know. Well,
it's more than a case.
I know the first run was about 500 cases.
Wow.
So, and we're working with our partners over at Benny Keith, who's been a great partner of Lion Athletics for a long time. But they had, and we talked to the guy. We recognized the guys from Tufts at that game that weekend, the Lamar game, and they were like, "Yeah, we went through the first 100 cases in like a day in terms of order." And then they said that Benny Keith said there was calls coming in on it, and that's how it's now. The distribution of it across the region is almost tripled. Well, it's almost tripled since then because they said their phones were blowing up that night. So, again, if you're out there and you're looking for it, encourage your grocery supplier or your local gas station or beverage store to get your bowl of gold.
So when you open it, I'm not going to open it.
Lucky the lion actually pops out.
Thank you. There we go. Just rub it.
You'll grow a tail.
Only after a case.
Now, this is going to be the collector's item.
Ooh.
In the event that
No doubt.
we get some good news next week, but we'll see. TBD on that.
Oh, there's so much happening around right now. So you're on your tour de Louisiana and Texas.
Yep.
And eating very well at every stop.
Well, that's what Avi and I are going to have to figure out along the way. So, yeah, we're starting a bunch of travel here soon just because of everything getting going. So, cross country, we're going to stop by, try to see another program while we're there, compete and swing over to McNeese, have an opportunity to cheer on football, see if we can get one there. And then the following week we start hoops. And so I know you're going to be on the road a little bit with that. I'm going to be on the road a little bit with that. We've got a big board meeting next week, hopefully on the Regents side. We've got Hall of Fame coming up. So I don't want to look too far ahead to next week. We'll get to that. But the travel is going to start. And then I got a meeting request today for the same date as the game at UConn. Obviously, we know we got people traveling up there. So we're in it right now. There's no doubt about it. But an exciting time. And we're in championship season now, too. Excited about that for cross country. We've seen the progression there with that program and how they're elevating what they're doing. We know we're in championship season for soccer. They got the last game this weekend, obviously regular season, but then they'll get into it. They're going to go straight there from Houston Christian, and then from there we've got a great win by volleyball on Saturday. I mean, that was a heck of a win against Houston Christian, and they're in the hunt in a very, very competitive volleyball league right now.
No doubt,
incredible. And then I mean it's all kind of here, so exciting.
When you go, and I know you go to some of the events, just kind of see how they're operated and how they're run. So you can either emulate or not do what they're doing. Cross country, it's really more about the race management than it is the course.
Yeah, and the course can matter. So at my previous institution, we actually built a course, cross country course while we were there that actually ended up hosting the national championship a couple of years ago. And So there are some nuances to it in terms of how you construct the starting area, viewing areas, kind of the elevation and the undulation on the course. What's the surface feel like? So there's I guess I never really appreciated the full art that went into course management on cross country until we actually were involved in building something, and I was on the periphery of that. I mean, we had a lot of other folks involved in that. But
it's a niche field.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly the shortest championship, right? Or at least you hope it is, because you hope it's over like that.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm excited to get out and see that. Again, we don't host cross-country meets here, obviously. I think we have in the past, and talking with George, and maybe we'll look at that in the future too. But, one of the things that George and I have talked about relative to distance is whether or not just some of the fallout from the roster caps that are coming down the pike in track and field and cross country could help us elevate what we're doing on the distance side. I think we both agree that it can. And so now I just think it becomes a question for us to strategize what that looks like.
Could you say hold a race in, I'm not suggesting it, but like if you got Cooper Lake State Park close by, could you run a race in a state park like that? And
yeah.
Just kind of go out and chalk it up?
Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't. I'm not familiar with it, obviously, personally, in terms of the layout. But
you could go into a park like
you go into a park, golf courses. There's a few different types of venues that kind of make sense for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always the start. I feel like that's really interesting. You need a little bit of space because the gun goes off and everybody starts to pack in, and you're trying to get separation and get some spacing on it all. But again, not my forte, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now you want to do the whole marathon. Hey, so soccer down at Corpus. That's great that y'all are helping your student athletes save their legs a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Getting them off the bus quite so long.
We're trying to be really intentional about how we sequence some of that travel and things like that. And, I know Ashley's banging her head on the wall, too. Obviously got it to slow starts the last couple games and matches and didn't get the result they wanted. And, kind of what I took from it is I look at everything in aggregate, whether it's football, cross-country, soccer, volleyball, it's interesting to kind of see where our programs are right now. And, more so about the process, right? And everybody's at different stages in the process. But I think it's important to acknowledge that it is a process, right? And,
sure.
And, when I first got here, I told our coaches that, success isn't always linear. We wish it was. We wish it was like a light switch where we kind of just hit it and we turn it on and it happens. But, we want to look for continued signs of just progress in terms of where we're going with our programs and that the trend line is going the way we want. And, again, some of them are in different stages of that process right now. And, soccer, I think right now they're learning to play from the front, and the pressures that come from being at the top of the table and the standings is different than it would be so for a program that's trying to still find its footing a little bit, right? The football, right? They're so close in so many games, and statistically and talent-wise, they're so much further ahead than they were last year, but they're still learning how to close a game or finish a game or things like that. And then you look at a cross or a golf and where they're going, and you look at Joe where volleyball's at and trying to continue to elevate that, and they're kind of making that slow kind of steady, but then they've got those blips along the way. And so I think it's really important to kind of just acknowledge and understand and appreciate the process a little bit. And that's frustrating at times, right? You don't get the results you always want. But
and it always takes longer than you wanted it to
well,
take,
there was something, again, we were disappointed on Saturday, right, driving back from Prairie View. And, but I ended up catching the presser from Matt Rule at Nebraska and, his kind of introductory remarks. And if you haven't seen it, it's probably worth going back and watching and listening. It was about 4 minutes of a introduction to his press conference. But, he talked about, he's been through the build before at multiple stops. And I really appreciated his perspective on it because it was kind of measured and candid all at the same time, in terms of just getting folks to, really kind of understand what the process looks like. But at the same time as well, I think one of the things, he didn't say it as overtly as I'm going to say it, but I think it resonated with me, is it all starts with mindset, right? It starts with belief in what we're doing. And it takes a collective effort. And
Absolutely,
I don't mean,
it does.
It's
It's
everybody.
we, not I.
100%. And again, it's student athletes, it's coaches, it's administration, it's campus community, it's our fans, it's alums. Like everybody's got a role in this. And so, and I know people get frustrated at times too, right? I get frustrated at times. Our coaches get frustrated. Our kids get frustrated at times. Our student athletes. I think I appreciate that, though. That's because they care, right? And if they weren't frustrated, it means they didn't care. And that'd be a different problem to have.
Yeah.
And so, again, I just, we're about building here. I mean, that's what we're doing. And, I think we know progress is part of the process, and it's not always easy. But I like where we're going overall. I like where we're going as a athletics department. I like where we're going as a university. I think the energy around everything that we've got going is there. And again, I think collectively we can lift everybody up. And in terms of what we're doing, our students, our programs, our teams, our student athletes, everybody, for what's possible here. Because the one thing I continue to be reminded of is that there is no limit to what we can do here. There's no limit. And I think every time that someone tries to set a limit to what we do, we break through it every time. And I think that's a little bit of a hallmark of this place that I've learned pretty quickly here in 18 months. And, we're going to continue to foster and fuel that as we go along. And so I kind of got a little bit off track there, but I've been thinking about over the last week about what that process looks like. And, not just last week, I've been thinking about it for 18 months, to be honest with you, what that process looks like. But now that we got every team going, one of the things you just kind of inherently look at is just where's everybody going in all this stuff, right? And where different people are at different parts of the process. But across the board, regardless of the sport, I'm really just proud of the effort. I'm proud of the effort across the board and the people that are working hard and our kids who are working hard. And I think we've seen reflection of that, whether it was Saturday when we get to a slow start and we battle back in a game and. I'm talking to their AD at the end. He's like, man, I thought we were going to blow this thing against you guys. And he's a longtime friend. And, but also how we finish out some stuff, how volleyball battles in some of these matches, and golf's battling and how soccer's battling. And we'll see it in hoops here soon. I'm really excited about the hoop season. I think we got a shot to really surprise some people. So
I do too.
Yeah.
I don't think those preseason polls are very accurate with regards to where the Lions might finish.
Well, here's what I like.
But that is a somewhat jaundiced viewpoint.
That's right. Well, there's the great part. Starting Monday, we're going to be able to get out there and kind of show it. So yeah. So like I said, we're in the heavy season, but this is kind of one of the hardest parts of the year, but also one of the best parts of the year because you get everybody going. You're getting into championship season, and there's still a lot of energy and excitement, so it's good.
Okay, we're running out of time, but I want to ask you this real quick.
Yep.
So the 4-year transition period.
Yeah.
You don't really know what it's like until you get in the middle of it, right?
That's right.
So, and 4 years, I know a lot of people say, oh, we could probably do that faster. But 4 years, it seems like there's pretty good reason why they expect people to be there.
Yeah.
And yet they may change it in January.
They could change it in January, too, right? They could actually truncate it further and make it 3. So we'll kind of see how that may or may not impact us if it goes through. But, I think when I got into it, I didn't really know why it was 4, right? I didn't have to know why before, so I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Get familiar with it. But what I will say is it's a really well thought out process. That's I will say. Now, it doesn't mean I like that it's 4 years. Do I wish it was shorter? Sure. But do I think there's some intentionality to it and purpose to why? I do. At the same time, too, one of the things that I've shared with some folks that, have asked me about the process, whether that be at the conference level, NCAA, other institutions, what have you, is that different sports have different challenges in that process.
Oh, no doubt.
And, I think a part of that is I think we're kind of seeing a little bit of that ourselves in some respects, right? Impact freshmen, can make an impact in some sports, and impact freshmen can't make an impact in some sports. It just, there's just some physicality. And I think football is a perfect example. Like the physicality of the game, you don't see a lot of freshmen come in and start right out the gate. In football at any level. I don't care what level you're at, FBS, FCS, anywhere. And, the physicality and the development that's needed, the sophistication of the sport is such that it doesn't really allow for it. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It obviously happens, but it's just harder. Whereas in a hoops, a soccer, a volleyball, I think we've been able to see where some younger players have been able to step in and make a bigger impact right away. I think just because of the nature of the way that the sport sets up relative to one another. And again, I don't want anybody to read anything more to that other than sports are a little bit different, right?
Well, I mean, it's an operational footprint. I mean, when you've got 100 and how many guys on a football team, they take up more space.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
everything about them takes up more space.
Yeah.
And a basketball team, put them in a 15 passenger
and
van.
part of it's just right? The number of people on the floor or on the field at any one time. I mean, in a football game, you're going to play, maybe close to 40, 45 guys in a game. And between every element of the game, whereas in hoops, you may get 8 deep, So one person can make a more pronounced impact, whereas, not a lot of Travis Hunters running around out there who can play both sides of the ball at a really high level.
Yeah, that is no lie.
All right. I wish there were, though. That'd be great.
All right, Jim, we could go on and on and on and on. But we got to go. Yep. We got to go because there's so much going on. You have volleyball in the home stretch. You have soccer playing its last regular season game and heading to the Southland tournament. And we got football Saturday, and then hoops Monday here, hoops Monday at Iowa. The women play here, the men up there, and we get out of the gate.
Soccer postseason Tuesday, volleyball later in the week on Thursday. Potentially a big board vote on Thursday.
Bye, honey. I'll see you next month.
Two big road games against A&M and A&M and Arkansas for the men and women respectively on Friday. And then soccer's still going Thursday, hopefully, and then Sunday a championship game, hopefully.
And maybe a name
Saturday,
change in the middle
Hall
of all
Fame
that.
Saturday. So, hey, let's do it, right?
Yep.
All right. Roll up the sleeves. Let's go.
Well, we'll do it this way. Lions up, everybody. See you next week. Thanks for watching another edition of Inside Lion Athletics.